Hello everybody, Mr. Effect Films here yet again. So, we're going to talk about things that you like that everybody else seems to hate. Now, this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while now, just because I just seem to have this a lot personally. I don't know about everybody else, but it just seems like there's so many things that I really like and I really enjoy for whatever reason, and everybody else just seems to really dislike them. So I've gotten a little bit of a list here. I've got 4 things, 2 video games and 2 movies. I could have picked other things, novels, comic books, even some songs, like music and stuff. But I decided to keep it short and simple and keep it to things that I personally know really well, those being film and games. So, like I said, that's just what this is going to be. Feel free to put your own list of stuff that you like that everybody else hates in the comments, or if you want, just simply do a video response. I would actually probably prefer that, but if you want to just do a list in the comments, that's cool too. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, the thing I immediately thought of, as far as things that I like that everybody else seems to hate, is the game Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. It's my favorite series in all of gaming, and I really especially love Metal Gear Solid 2. It's my second favorite in the series. The only one I like more than 2 would actually be 4. I would go so far as to say Metal Gear Solid 2 is probably my favorite sequel of any game I've ever played. I think Metal Gear Solid 2 is an absolutely brilliant game, and it's really fun. And I love it so much. And so many people really don't like this, mainly just because of the whole switching out Solid Snake for Raiden thing. And, Raiden isn't initially as, hardcore or badass as Snake and all that. And, none of that really matters to me because, A, what he lacks in badassery he makes up in for relatability, at least I think he does. And 2, when you consider Metal Gear Solid 4 and then now Metal Gear Rising, what you come to realize is that this was basically just setting the stage for Raiden's character, and that he's going to get developed and become much more hardened and much more hardcore, not unlike Snake, in the later games. So it's fine. I don't need every character to start off as a complete hardened badass right away. That doesn't have to be. So, I don't know. I really love Metal Gear Solid 2. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's a great game and I love it. Alright, so next up is Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception. Now, this isn't a game that I think anybody really hates, but it's still something that a lot of people seem to dislike. People seem to think Uncharted 1 is good, not great. 2 is amazing, the highlight of the series. And then 3 is passable. It's kind of, they kind of look at it as the letdown of the series. Well, Uncharted 3 is my favorite of the bunch. While I will admit it's not as big and as bombastic as 2, I think it easily has the best story of the bunch. This is easily the most personal characterization for Nathan Drake we've ever gotten. I think the whole relationship between him, Sully, and Elena is the best here that it's ever been. And I think the villain in this is... Now, I've not played Uncharted 4 because I don't have a PS4, but the villain in this, I think, is the best villain we've ever gotten in an Uncharted game. I think this is a great game, and I'm really disappointed that people seem to look at this as like the disappointment of the series. Like I said, it might not have as many big, explosive moments as 2, although I think 3 comes pretty freaking close. I think it beats out 1 as far as that goes. So it might not reach the levels of 2 as far as, like I said, the big explosive moments go, but everywhere else, I think it surpasses 2. And like I said, it's my favorite of the bunch, so yeah. That's my next one, is Uncharted 3. Alright, so now we're going to move on to my 2 films, and the first one I have here is the 2004 movie Van Helsing. Now, I am a huge fan of Stephen Sommers' movies. He's done this, he did The Scorpion King, and he did the first 2 Mummy films, The Mummy and then The Mummy Returns, and then in 2009 he did G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. All of which I think are really good and really fun. And that kind of sums it up. Stephen Sommers is, I think, the perfect director for fun action films. He's not necessarily focused on delivering the most brilliant story ever told. He's not necessarily focused on giving us the best characterizations we've ever seen or anything like that. His focus is on delivering fun, good time, feel-good movies for the most part. That is his focus. That's where he excels. And this is my favorite movie that he's ever done. I really love Van Helsing. I think it's a really, really good and really fun movie. It's also one of my favorite Hugh Jackman performances. I know, of course, everybody loves him as Wolverine in the X-Men movies, and so do I, but this is probably a close second. I really like his portrayal of Van Helsing. Obviously, it's very different from how Van Helsing is in the Dracula novels and especially in the movies, but this is a really interesting portrayal. I like the idea of him being a monster hunter and then just one day being assigned to hunt down Dracula, the Lord of the Vampires, basically. Like, I thought that was a really cool premise. It's definitely a reinterpretation of the character of Van Helsing, but one that I really, really like. And I will admit the CG is maybe a little dated for its time, but the action itself is really good. The soundtrack is incredible. I love the soundtrack for this movie. It's so good. I'm really disappointed that this movie never got a sequel. I think this movie is, for me, what Raiders of the Lost Ark was for a lot of people when they were kids. Because this movie came out in 2004, so I would have been like 12 at the time. So I was still a kid when this movie came out. And I didn't get around to seeing, any of the Indiana Jones movies until I was like 19, 20, something like that. It just never came up for me. I don't know. I think this was for me what that movie was for a lot of other people when they were kids. And I'm really disappointed that we never got a sequel to this. I would have loved for this to have been, like a trilogy of movies or 4 movies or something like that. I would have loved to have seen more of this, and I'm really disappointed that never happened. So yeah, that's another one, is 2004's Van Helsing. Alright, so the last one that I have here is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, obviously, the majority of people out there do not like any of the Star Wars prequel films. Not only do I not feel that way, I mean, first of all, I don't hate any of the movies. The only of them I don't like that much is Episode 1, and that's just because I find it really boring for the most part. It's got its moments. I love the lightsaber fight at the end with Darth Maul, but, other than moments like that, I can't say it's a good movie, and it's not even that fun to watch, so it's the only one I don't really like, but I don't hate any of them. And then Episode 2, I think it's better than people give it credit for, but at the end of the day, it's not all that memorable either. Episode 3, not only do I think this movie is good, it's my second favorite Star Wars movie, second only to Return of the Jedi. Yes, I know, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, get over it. No, but seriously, I really love Revenge of the Sith. I think this is a much, much better movie than it's given credit for. It's the only one of the prequels that I could say genuinely feels like a Star Wars movie. And I think if this was the first, it wouldn't have made sense to do it this way. I think if this was the first of the prequel movies, I think people would hold this movie in a much higher regard than they do. I think this is a really good movie. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's got my second favorite. First of all of the lightsaber fights in this are really good, except for maybe the one with Obi-Wan and General Grievous. I don't know, that one's okay. It's not great. But most of the lightsaber fighting in this is really great, and especially the fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end. That fight is just amazing. It's my second favorite lightsaber duel of all time. The only one I like more than that is between Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi. But yeah, this is a great movie. I really hate that it's looked down upon as just a disappointing, movie. And the whole pre-trilogy is looked at that way, but especially this one, and I really, really hate that. Because I think it's really, really good. So, yeah, like I said, just listing off some things that I really like and everybody else seems to really, really hate. And, as I said before, make your own list if you want, video response, comments, whatever you feel like doing. This is something I think should be talked about, is, like I said, things that you really like that everybody else seems to hate. I think this is an interesting thing to bring up and discuss. So, I guess that's going to do it for this video. This has been Mr. Effect Films. I'm signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.